Hey guys, quick recap from last night. I like to do a recap video because it helps me with my thought process and it can help us see where we may have went wrong, what we could have done different. So first game, Rangers and Toronto. We knew Toronto was the better team. Matthews back, Strome and Kakko out for the Rangers, and Toronto with a significant advantage across the board in team stats. Like I mentioned last night, the goaltending matchup was going to be interesting. Shesterkin is very good and capable of stealing this game, which he did. They ended up winning 2-1 in overtime, and we can see the final stats. We had both teams scoring roughly 2 goals. So looking back on this, the best bet probably would have been the under in this game. We have 2 really good goalies. Even though Shesterkin's a bit over 2.5, that's fine because he makes up for it with his goals saved above average. I ended up taking Toronto money line and Toronto puck line. Main reason because of the lineups. Matthews coming back, I was expecting him to have more of an impact, and Rangers down 2 of their top 6. Second game, Seattle and Philadelphia. Similar to Toronto, Philadelphia is the better team in team stats. Grubauer is the better goalie statistically. And like I mentioned last night, Hart, you don't really know what you're going to get with him yet. He's got a good expected goals against, but he's below average in goals saved. His first game, he got lit up by Vancouver, and then last night, he only allows 1 goal. The one thing I didn't consider was that Seattle was their 4th game straight on the road, and Grubauer getting his 4th straight start on the road, and it really showed because he was gassed. They got blown out 6-1. My data at the end had Seattle winning the game, but sometimes that human element comes into play. That's a lot of travel from Vegas to Nashville, Columbus, then to Philly. That's a tough schedule for a team to continue doing well, and they performed all right. They're 1-2, but their 2 losses were the difference of 1 goal. This game they finally took a beating. Anaheim, Calgary, another frustrating loss in overtime. We had Calgary money line and puck line. Anaheim, as I mentioned, they're holding their own to start the season. And Calgary had the advantage across the board in team stats, but once again, we have a goalie stealing the game. Markstrom had a better expected goals against, but Gibson had the better goals saved above average on the road, and Anaheim pulled out the overtime win 3-2. Final stats were really tight, and the reason I went with Calgary was they were coming off a blowout loss to Edmonton, and this was their home opener. Anaheim traveling up to Alberta for this game, so I figured that, and comparing the lineups, Calgary just looked deeper, but they couldn't get it done. And the last game, which helped stop the bleeding, even though team-based stats were very close, and Arizona was even better in 3 out of the 4 categories, the main thing was the goalie matchup, Binnington and Hutton. Similar expected goals against, but Hutton is just a poor goaltender on a poor team. So this was the biggest advantage tonight, St. Louis, and we had them over 3 goals here. So my bets were St. Louis money line, puck line, and their team total over 3.5 because we were getting that at plus 115. St. Louis ended up winning this game 7-4. And so not a great night. There's things I could have done different. But it's still a learning process, still early in the year, still got to get used to these teams. And yeah, that's it for this video. I will get out the next video for tonight's slate at some point today. Thanks.